through my work at Warming Room Community Ministries, we've gotten to know a lot of people, and I've gotten to make a lot of friends from walks of life that I wouldn't have come across without doing this work. And there was one individual who we got quite close, and he was just so gifted. He was just this amazing pianist who, whenever there was a piano in the room, he would sit down and just start jamming. And the room would get calm when he was at the piano. And he and I, we would chat quite a bit. He ended up, we started organizing some concerts, and we'd get him to be the opener. And it was always awesome because he was a community member at our drop-in center. And so the artists who would bring in would always be like, "Oh, isn't that sweet? You're letting a community member." And I'd just wait for them to hear him, because then they'd realize, well, he's actually a better artist than I am, and have those experiences. And it was incredible. But Jeff struggled a lot with addiction issues. And one day we got the call that you never want. Jeff had died of an overdose. And it hit us all really hard. Also because, as what happens so often, he had been trying lately really not to use, and then his resistance got low, and then he just, weak moment, used again, and that was it. And it was hard because people saw him as a junkie. But we knew him as much more than this. And it felt so pointless. Like, why did he have to die? And because it was pointless. Like, this overdose crisis is ridiculous, and people are dying, and it's pointless. But we did a memorial service for Jeff, and the room started filling up with people, and people just began sharing stories about Jeff. One particular story that was shared was this man got up. He was obviously so uncomfortable, and public speaking was not what he wanted to be doing. And so he just made eye contact with the ceiling the whole time. That's not eye contact, ceiling contact. He just made contact with the ceiling the whole time. And he's staring up, and he starts telling this story about how when he got out of jail, he just felt so bad about himself. And he moved back in with his mom, and he felt guilty of all that he'd put his mom through, and it was really, really hard on him. And it got to his mom's birthday, and he had absolutely nothing to give his mom, and he felt horrible because he'd put her through so much. And when he told Jeff this, and Jeff's like, "Hey, she's got that old piano, doesn't she?" And he goes, "Yeah." He's like, "I'll come over." And he has no idea what's going to happen. Anyway, they go over to his house. They sit down, and Jeff says, "This is from your son." And Jeff sits down and plays this song on the piano, and the mom just starts weeping because it was her dream. She loves music so much, and Jeff was answering this. And the man starts weeping because he couldn't have ever thought of a better gift from his mom. Anyway, as that's all going on, there's this, we start realizing just Jeff's continuing, right? Like, Jeff's resurrected in these stories, that Jeff's influence on all of us was never going to, I'm never going to be able to forget Jeff, and nor are the people in the room. And by sharing those stories, Jeff continued. And that didn't make his death or the ridiculousness of this opioid crisis, of this drug poisoning, or all this horrible stuff, it didn't make any of that right. But what it did mean is that Jeff isn't done. Jeff isn't what the news would often call a junkie. He was so much more than that. And for me, I needed to hold on to that.